Hello and good morning to you. This is Dr. Bill Bledsoe bringing you another glorious morning session of your prayers. Settle out in the privacy of your own home. I just begin the prayers, but you must finish them with your own heartfelt concerns and your walk with God. So we'll begin with my prayer. Beloved God, I thank you for this wonderful method of joining with your love of prayer. I thank you for healing our bodies with stretching motions while you heal our minds with our prayers. I thank the generations that have brought this to us, from the house of Abraham, the house of David, from Jesus, his mother Mary, Father Joseph, Mary Magdalene, and Virginia Ellen, who wrote the book Sacred Heart Yoga. So anybody in the world can practice this ancient method of prayer anytime they want. Amen. Now, if you'll repeat after me, we're going to say the Sacred Heart Yoga morning prayer. Beloved God, I devote this practice this day to the evolution of my soul, to the fulfillment of my destiny, in service to your love, O God. And I give thanks for these. I allow myself to be purified as I rejoice in your kingdom of heaven and your love, O God. And I give thanks for these blessings, these moments that I can share with my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul, in oneness with your love, O God. And so it is. Amen. Om. Now we're going to try to, it's called clear our energy fields. What we're doing is clearing our minds of fears and distractions that would prevent us from being able to love and feel God's love. We must get rid of our fears to be able to do that. So here, we take a motion, we do a motion with our right arm, hold it straight up to the 12 o'clock position, let it go clockwise over to the 3 o'clock position, our right knee, left knee, 9 o'clock position, and then back up to the 12 o'clock position. As we do this motion, repeat these words after me. Beloved God, I clear my energy field of anyone or anything standing within. I bless them and I send them into your love, your light, O God. Om. Now we're going to start the prayers where I'll say our prayers begin with, and you repeat what I say. It'll just be a beginning of the prayer, and then you must finish it with your own heartfelt concerns, your walk with God. So the first thing we're going to do is take our right hands over our hearts, and I'll say the words, and here our prayers begin with, and then you repeat what I say and finish it with your own heartfelt concerns aloud. It's really, in my mind, important that it's done aloud. So we take our right hands over our hearts and we ask, God, how may I serve you this day? Om. Now we're going to stand up and say aloud what came to us. We do this by standing straight and tall, put our arms at our sides, our palms forward. And here our prayers begin with, God, my intention to serve you is to... Om. Now, in Aramaic, an oath was sealed by saying the word Amen 3 times. So here we're going to seal our oath to God by singing it aloud, Amen 3 times. Any tune that feels right for each of us, any frequency, pitch, it's right for us. Amen. 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 Now we're going to sit back down on the mats. Lay down on our backs. Get into what's called resting position, which is our legs outstretched, our arms at our sides. And here we begin by pulling our right knee up to our chest, holding it there with our arms and our hands. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for... Om. Now we take our right foot
in our left hand, pull it over to our left thigh. Let our right knee fall down to the mat, and our right arm gets extended straight above our heads, stretched out down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you, and I thank you for... Om. Now we take our right foot in our right hand, holding it down near our pelvis, and we take our left arm, extend it up straight above our heads, stretched out down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you, and I thank you for... Om. Now we point our right foot up towards the heavens, holding it with our right hand. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you, and I thank you for... Om. Now we let our right foot fall down to the mat. We extend our leg out to the right side of our bodies, opening our pelvis as wide as we can. We let our arms fall straight out to the sides from our chest down to the mat, palms up. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you, and I thank you for... Om. Now we turn our heads to the right, keeping our shoulders down flat on the mat. We take our right foot, leg extended, and we point it up towards the heavens and then over to the left side of our bodies. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you, and I thank you for... Om. Now we go back to resting position, legs outstretched, arms at our sides. And we pull our left knee up to our chest, holding it there with our arms and our hands. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for Om. Now we take our left foot in our right hand, pull it over to our right thigh, let our left knee fall down to the mat, and our left arm gets extended straight above our head, stretched out down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for Om. Now we take our left foot in our left hand, extend it, point it up towards the heavens. Nope, 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 nope. Hold it down near our pelvis, sorry. And our right arm gets extended straight above our heads, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for Om. Now we point our left foot up towards the heavens, holding it with our left hand. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for Om. Now we let our left foot fall out down to the mat, out to the left side of our bodies, opening our pelvis as wide as we can. Our arms get extended straight out to our sides, down to the mat, palms up. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for Om. This time we turn our heads to the left, and our left leg gets extended up towards the heavens and over to the right side of our bodies, down to the mat, keeping our shoulders down flat on the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for Om. Now we'll go back to resting position. Legs outstretched, arms at our sides. And we're going to, for a second time, release our fears. This time we're going to surrender them to God's love, into God's love. We put our hands under our sit bones, lean forward on our elbows, trying to touch the tops of our heads back down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, I surrender into your love my fears of. Om. Now we sit down in resting position. Lay back down in resting position. And this time we reach for the heavens with our left hand. Let it fall over to the right side of our bodies, and we take our right hand halfway between our left elbow and left shoulder, stretching it over farther, our left shoulder and back stretched farther. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I choose to. Om. Now we go back to resting position and we reach for the heavens with our right hand. Let it fall over to the left side of our bodies. And we take our left hand halfway between our right shoulder and right elbow, stretching our shoulder and back farther. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I can. Om. Now we go back to resting position, arms at our sides, legs outstretched, and we pull our feet up to our pelvis, like soles of our feet down on the mat. Pull our feet up to our pelvis, and then we let our knees fall out to the outside, putting kind of the soles of our feet together. Our knees fall out down to the mat, and here we're forming a tabernacle, a triangle, a house of God below our bodies. We form a second tabernacle by putting our hands over our hearts in prayer position and extending them up 2/3 of the way up to the heavens. And in this tabernacle of our hearts, we find God's beautiful chalice filled with any gift we could ever desire, want, or need that we can use serving God's love. So here our prayers begin with, God, I drink from your chalice, your gifts to me of. Om. Now we take our hands in prayer position down to the mat, right at the very tops of our heads. Let our arms fall out to the sides, down to the mat. And this forms a tabernacle, a house of God over our entire bodies. So here our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for healing my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul. Om. Now we're going to start what's called the anointing series. It's a series of 4 prayers, and we repeat them a second time. So it's called a series. They're dedicated to thanking God for the gifts he gives us to serve his love. And so here we begin by during all 4 prayers, we keep our hands in prayer position. And even the second time, our hands are in prayer position during all 4 prayers. So we take our thumbs up to our foreheads, and our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts to me of. Om. Now our thumbs go down to our lips, and our prayers begin with, God, I bless, and I will only use them in service to your love, your gifts to me of. Om. Now we take our hands down in prayer position over our hearts. And our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for your gifts to me of Om. Now we do a motion with our hands. We point our fingers down into our abdomens, extend them out towards our pelvis. We take our hands in prayer position, fingers down, extend our arms straight out to over our pelvis, like on the arms of a clock at the 3 o'clock position on a clock. And then we move them counterclockwise up to the heavens towards the 12 o'clock position. And then down over our backs, down to the mat at the 9 o'clock position. As we do this motion, our prayers begin with, God, I fill my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul with your gifts to me of Om. Now we start the second in the series, our thumbs to our foreheads, and our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts to me of Om. Now our thumbs go down to our lips and our prayers begin with, God, I bless, and I will only use them in service to your love, your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our hands down over our hearts in prayer position. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for your gifts to me of Om. Now we point our fingers down into our abdomens, extend them out to the 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock positions. And here our prayers begin with, God, I fill my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul with your gifts to me of Om. Now we go back to resting position, legs outstretched, arms at our sides. And here our prayers begin with, nope, not yet. We cross our right ankle over our left ankle, our right wrist over our left wrist. And now here are our prayers over our hearts. And now here our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for always protecting me and keeping me safe. Om. Now we roll over on our sides, pushing ourselves back up into sitting position using our arms and our hands. Here we extend our right leg straight out in front of us. Our left foot goes over our right knee. We hold our left knee with our right arm. Left arm goes behind our backs for support. And we twist our heads, our shoulders, and our backs to the left. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I desire to Om. Now we take our left foot straight out in front of us. Our right foot goes across our left knee. We hold our right knee in our left arm.
Our right arm goes behind our backs for support. We turn our heads, our shoulders, and our backs to the right. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I will. Om. Now we get up on our knees. Put our hands in prayer position over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for. Om. Now we form a tabernacle with our hands by putting the tips of our thumbs together, tips of our first fingers together. We put this tabernacle down on the mat in front of us, and we're going to lean over in child's pose and put our foreheads into the tabernacle. And we're just going to take a moment and feel God's presence, God's love in the world around us. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. This time our right leg gets extended out to the right side. Our left foot comes up to the inside of our right thigh. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I will become. Now we take our left leg out to the left side. Our right foot comes up to the inside of our left thigh. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I am. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. We put our hands on our knees, palms up, thumbs touching our middle two fingers, and that forms little tabernacles with our hands. We sit up straight and tall, and we bow forward at our pelvis. And here our prayers begin with, I bow to your love, O God, for healing my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul. Om. Now we sit back up straight and tall a second time and bow forward at our pelvis, keeping our back straight once again. And here our prayers begin with, I bow to your love, O God, my true Father, my true Mother, the One, the Oneness. Om. Now we sit up straight and tall, and we feel where we're grounded down to the mat on the left side and right side of our pelvis. On the left side of our pelvis, we feel God's wonderful white light of love, of nurturing, of healing, entering our bodies. God's white light fills our legs to the tips of our toes. It fills our abdomens all with God's love, every cell and every organ. It comes up and it fills our hearts. So our hearts glow like a beacon to the world with God's love. Comes up through our lungs, and with every breath we get more of God's love. And it comes up into our arms, to the tips of our fingers, our throats, and up into our minds so that we know God's love at every moment of every day. God's white light of love goes out the tops of our heads and expands out like this giant beam of light, and it encircles, goes around, wraps around the whole earth. and rains down God's love on every living creature. Now we feel on the right side of our pelvis God's wonderful blue light of truth, of wisdom, of knowing. God's blue light fills our legs to the fullest, to the tips of our toes. It comes up and fills our abdomens, every cell and every organ with God's truth. It comes up into our hearts, filling our hearts with the knowledge, the determination, the reality that God is real. God's blue light of truth goes up into our lungs, and with every breath we inhale more of God's truth. Goes up through our arms to the tips of our fingers, up into our throats and into our minds, filling our minds with the wisdom we need each day. Then it goes out the tops of our heads. God's blue light fans out in all directions, and it surrounds the whole earth and rains down God's blue light on every living creature there is. Now we can step up into the light above our heads, stay as long as we want, ask anything we want. But the one thing we should always ask before leaving is, God, what do I need to know this day? All